Here's a rundown of the key points from Quiz 6. So, what is the principate? So, there are lots of ways of answering this question. The basic idea is that the principate is Augustus, the man who is shouldering the responsibility for the city of Rome and for the Roman Empire. And this happens as a result of all the sequences of events that build through the Civil War and the dictatorship of Julius Caesar and the triumvirate. But the ultimate point of this is that the Romans have turned to Augustus. They've turned to this man Octavian. They've given him this name Augustus and said, "Take care of us. Be our Atlas, our protector, our champion." And so this is this is the faith and trust that we've been talking about invested in Augustus the man. And this is a major divergence from everything that Rome has had before, which has been the monarchy, which is a magistracy that is, the priest king of Rome was an official office that had official set of responsibilities and precedents, and was in the oral constitution, the set of customs that Rome abided by. When the kings were gotten rid of, they replaced them with the consuls. The consuls, magistrates in office that had a specific set of responsibilities and limitations. In Augustus, as we see from the second settlement, his authority consists of his personal auctoritas, and this is reflected in how he is given the power of a consul without the office. And this means his ability to compel citizens by virtue of himself, having been trusted with this, not by virtue of an office. He's given the power of a tribune without the office. And this means that Augustus as a man is capable of interposing a veto, is capable of enacting the citizens' right of appeal, is capable of convening the Senate and the Assembly, is capable of being protected from assault by sacrosanctity. He is given the power of the censor without the office. And this means that Augustus the man is able to replenish the Senate and review the morals of the senators, that he is responsible for ordering the citizens with property and, by extension, the composition of the army. He is given this authority as Augustus the man. And so you can talk about this in terms of the second settlement. You can talk about this as the Senate, investing this authority in him, but it comes from the fact that Rome itself and the three constituencies that Augustus takes responsibility for, the people, the legions, and the nobility, have turned to him as an alternative to the systems and institutions of the Republic, which have utterly failed and brought about disastrous civil war. The faith and trust in the institutions of the Republic, which is what the Republic operated on, and what was championed by the optimates, has been permanently replaced by faith and trust in an individual that has proven his ability to be worthy of that trust and his ability to act as champion protector in a military and political way and to take care of these three constituencies. What are some of the ways Augustus reformed and stabilized Rome and its empire? There are a lot of things that are discussed in the textbook about this, and this has to do with military reform and restructuring the military. It has to do with how the provinces are arranged and restructuring them. The bottom line here is that Augustus undertakes a series of reforms that bring about stability, in the sense that, first of all, he simplifies and streamlines and makes the systems more efficient. He focuses the systems of the empire and the government of Rome in a centralized way that had not been done before. Remember, the creation of the Roman Empire, in terms of its provinces, in terms of even the positioning of the legions and so forth, has always been done in a very ad hoc and reactive way. And so Augustus, his one of his real legacies as princeps, and the creation of the idea of emperor, as we describe it in English, is to bring about a true organized imperial structure, and this includes everything from civil service that takes care of day-to-day administration, and this becomes even more institutionalized later. But the way in which the taxes of the provinces are paid, and the way in which the army is provisioned, all of this is done in a systemized, centralized, efficient way, essentially for the first time, because nobody has ever been in charge of the whole thing before. It's always been consuls who were in office for a year, and the Senate, who often thinks about the provinces in terms of foreign policy, and this is the purview of a few senators who happen to be interested in such things when they turn their minds to it, often in reaction to some external stimulus, a warlord arising like Mithridates, or some sort of uprising in Gaul or whatever. Augustus creates a Roman Empire in a sense, in a way that we can recognize for the first time. The Augustan age included Latin literature. Okay, so the answer to this is Homer, not a Latin author. All the rest of these are Latin authors, and one of the points of this question is that there's lots of different kinds of things. You have poetry, you have theater, you have history. Augustus fosters arts and literature, and arts and literature, even using Greek tools, drama and epic poetry, in a Latin way, as I've been saying, in order to emphasize and consolidate and strengthen the Roman identity as embracing all the parts of the Mediterranean world, what is now the Roman world, that subsumes these older cultures. This is being focused on the Roman identity and using this to strengthen what it means to be Roman in superimposition to all these other peoples. Did he restore the republic? Well, of course, this is one of those things that causes you to think, well, what do we mean by republic? Why is this even a question? The literal answer is no, of course not. The republic is government by two consuls, and the principle of the republic is never letting one person rise above everyone else. The principle of the republic is collective leadership by the noble class, by the noble families. That is what the republic is in the literal sense. So how can Augustus even claim to have restored the republic? And so in a philosophical sense, in a metaphorical sense, what he's doing is restoring the stability that came with the republic. In other words, that's taking Rome back to the sense of stability and prosperity that it had before the civil wars, before the republic started breaking down. He brings back the strength and stability of that Rome had always enjoyed, until it started to fall apart. And more to the point here, Augustus truly embraces the mos maiorum. He wants to strengthen the Roman identity, and he takes us back to core ideas of Roman virtue, what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman in terms of especially the responsibilities of the matron, and the collective responsibilities of the noble class. He relies upon all these things in order to take Rome to a new and exciting place. And so, this is how he triumphed over Antony, and this is what he represents in a lot of ways. Even though his rule is in defiance and repudiation of the collective rule of the nobility, he still represents everything else about the Republic apart from what the Republic actually was. And that's the end of the quiz. Email me with any questions.